Welcome to the Season 2 compilation video of the Quest Lore series. In this season we completed 21 more quests, venturing into the pay-to-play section of the game, starting with Druidic Ritual. Halfway through the season I went on a 2.5 year hiatus, hence the audio change you'll soon notice.
Kakamix tells you that the stone circle south of Varrock used to belong to the Druids but was taken over by the Dark Wizards. He directs you towards Xanthu, who is working on a ritual to purify the stone circle. He needs you to place raw rat meat, raw bear meat, raw beef and raw chicken in the Cauldron of Thunder located in Taverley Dungeon. You bring the ingredients to Xanthu and then speak with Kakamix again, who will introduce you to the skill of Herb Lore. Completing this quest unlocks the Herb Lore skill and is a requirement for Recruitment Drive and Ediger's Ruse. Lost City. A group of adventurers have set up camp in Lumbridge Swamp. The warrior reveals that they're searching for a mystical lost city called Xanaris. In a nearby tree, a leprechaun is hiding who informs you that to reach Xanaris you must enter a shed in the Lumbridge Swamp with a Drayman staff equipped. He also says that a Drayman tree can be found on Entrana. The monks of this island do not allow weapons to be brought, but you can bring runes. On the island you make your way to a dungeon where you can kill zombies until they drop an axe. Then, when you try to obtain a Drayman branch, a tree spirit will appear. Once defeated, you can collect Drayman branches and make a Drayman staff. When you enter the shed in Lumbridge Swamp with the staff equipped, you'll find yourself in Xanaris. Completing this quest is a requirement for Fairy Tale Part 1, Hero's Quest, Lunar Diplomacy, and the Ceramic Vase subquest of Recipe for Disaster. Witch's House. A boy kicked his ball into the witch's garden and would like you to get it back for him. In the plant pot north of the door you find a key and enter the house. Inside you find a diary detailing the witch's experiments and a security system consisting of a mouse and a magnet created by Dr. Odenstein. Downstairs you find a magnet in a cupboard. Back upstairs you lure a mouse by using cheese and then attach a magnet to it to unlock the outside door. Hiding behind hedges you can avoid being seen by the witch, and searching the fountain you find a key to the shed. Inside the shed you defeat the witch's experiments in 4 different forms, and then you grab the ball, exit the house and return it to the boy. Completing this quest is a requirement for Recipe for Disaster and Grim Tales, Merlin's Crystal. You ask King Arthur if you can join the Knights of the Round Table. To prove yourself, he sets you on a quest to free the wizard Merlin, who has been trapped in a magical crystal. You speak to Sir Gawain. He mentions Morgan Le Fay, who created the enchantment that trapped Merlin. Then you speak to Sir Lancelot. He says that the only way to get into Le Fay's keep is from the sea. To get there, you hide in one of the crates behind a candle shop. Inside, upstairs, you fight Sir Mordred, and just before you defeat him, Morgan Le Fay appears and begs you not to kill her son. In exchange, she'll tell you how to release Merlin. For this you need a black candle, made by giving beeswax to the candle maker. Then you speak to the Lady of the Lake, who tests you before giving Excalibur. When entering the jewellery store in Port Sarim, a beggar appears and you give him bread. That was the test, and the Lady of the Lake gives you Excalibur. In Varrock, at the Zamrock Chaos Temple, you check the altar to find the words for an incantation. Back in Camelot, you stand in the circle, light the black candle and drop some bat bones. This summons Frantax the Mighty, who you control by saying the incantation. You request to free Merlin and the spirit obeys. To free him, you use Excalibur on the crystal, which shatters. You speak to King Arthur and the quest is complete. Completing this quest is a requirement for Holy Grail and Hero's Quest, which is the next quest I'll be completing. Hero's Quest. This is the first quest of the series with quest requirements, those being Shield of Arav, Lost City, Merlin's Crystal and Dragon Slayer. Outside the Heroes Guild, you ask Achaetes about how to join. She says that you need to give her 3 items, a fire feather, a cooked lava eel, and a Master Thieves armband. To retrieve a fire feather, you need ice gloves. These are dropped by the Ice Queen found underneath White Wolf Mountain. You mine some rocks to enter, and then you make your way through the cave. Once you've defeated her, you get the ice gloves. Then, you take a boat to Entrana to find the Firebird. You defeat it with the ice gloves equipped, retrieving the fire feather. At the Port Sarin fishing shop, Garen gives you Blamish Snail Slime, which you mix with an unfinished Haralander potion, making Blamish Oil. The oil turns a normal fishing rod into an oily fishing rod. Then, through the Taverley Dungeon, after killing the jailer and speaking to Velrak the Explorer, he hands you a dusty key. This key gives access to the dragon section of the cave, where you can fish lava eels from the magma flow, cook them to get the second item. To get the Master Thieves armband, you speak to your gang from the Shield of Arav quest. I'm Black Arm Gang, so I spoke to Catherine. She tells you to steal Scarface Pete's candlesticks in Brimhaven. Here you will need a partner from the other gang to proceed.
You find your gang hideout, use the secret code, and get some ID papers from Trobert. Then, you go to a large mansion and Grip hands you a key. You give this key to your partner in the other gang. Next, you search the cupboard in the northeast room, grabbing Grip's attention. Your partner can kill him through the wall. He drops a final key, giving access to a chest with 2 candlesticks. You give one to your partner. Back in Varrock, you exchange the candlestick, and Catering gives you the Master Thieves armband. You return to give the 3 items to Akites, allowing you access to the Heroes Guild. Completing this quest is a requirement for Throne of Miscellanea, Legends Quest, Recipe for Disaster, and the Fremenic Exiles. Scorpion Catcher. You talk to Thormac at the top of the Sorcerer's Tower. He wants you to catch his rare carried scorpions which have escaped. By talking to a seer from Seer's village, you learn the location of the scorpions. One is found in the Barbarian Outpost Agility course. Another is found in Tavali Dungeon. And the final one is upstairs in the monastery. Once all 3 are captured, you return to Thormac. Quest complete. Family Crest. You speak with Diminphase in southeast Varrock. He tells you that he can't get back his estate without his family crest. The crest was given to his sons who haven't been seen in years, since the war to save Varrock from the undead necromancers. He last heard of one of his sons trying to become a chef west of the White Wolf Mountain. You find Caleb, who will exchange his third of the family crest for the ingredients of a fish salad. These are shrimps, bass, salmon, tuna, and a swordfish. He then directs you to his brother Avan, who's been looking for gold. In Al-Kharid, a gem trader informs you of Avan's location. He's looking for perfect gold to make the perfect jewellery to impress a girl. He doesn't know where to find perfect gold, but has heard of a dwarf that knows the location of some. This dwarf is called Boot and is found in the Dwarven Mines. He tells you that you can find some in the Witch Haven dungeon. After solving a puzzle with levers, you mine the perfect gold, smelt the perfect jewellery, and Avan gives you his third of the crest. He tells you that the other brother is staying at an inn just south of the wilderness. When you find him, he is ill, so you use an anti-poison on him. He quickly recovers and tells you that he lost his piece fighting Chronozon, who can only be defeated when all 4 death spells have been used. You make your way through the Edgeville dungeon, into the wilderness section, and fight Chronozon. Once defeated, you get the final piece. Now, you can combine the pieces and give the crest to Diminphase. He rewards you with steel gauntlets, which can be imbued for different skills. Completing this quest is a requirement for Legends Quest and Recipe for Disaster, Tribal Totem. Kangai Mao wants your help to recover a totem that was stolen from his tribe by Lord Handlemort. You speak to the wizard Crumpety and Ardoin, who teleports you to a magic block which is inside a crate. You switch the address labels on the crates and speak to one of the employees to know when they'll be delivered. Wizard Crumpety teleports you to the magic block again, which is now inside Lord Handlemort's house. To unlock the door, you spell the word Kurt. You investigate the stairs to find traps, and make it through to a chest. Inside you find the tribal totem and return it to Kangai Mao. Fishing Contest. Vestry and Ostry hold the entrances of a tunnel that runs underneath the White Wolf Mountain. You ask if you can use their tunnel, but they want something made from gold in return, more specifically the fishing trophy. You obtain a fishing pass, then you go to McGrubber's Woods and collect 3 red vine worms. Grandpa Jack sells you a fishing rod for 5 coins. You enter the competition area and stash some garlic in the pipe near the fishing spot. The competition starts and the sinister stranger avoids the spot near the pipe. You fish 3 giant carps and win the competition. You return to the dwarf and give him the trophy. Now you can access the underground White Wolf Mountain passage. Completing this quest is a requirement for Recipe for Disaster, Forgettable Tale of a Drunken Dwarf, and Between a Rock. Monk's Friend. Brother Omad has been having a hard time sleeping because some thieves stole a child's blanket and the kid won't stop crying. You decide to help him and find the thieves' hideout in a circle of stones. Inside the hideout, you take back the blanket. Brother Omad is pleased and can get a good night's rest. Then, he asks you to check on Brother Cedric, who was supposed to help organize a party. Brother Cedric got drunk and needs a jug of water. This helps sober him up. Then he needs some logs. You give this to him and then return to Brother Omad, who throws down the biggest party since 2019.
The Temple of Ikov. You speak with Lucian in the Flying Horse Inn in the western part of East Ardoin. He wants you to obtain the Staff of Armadil from the Temple of Ikov, located just south of the Ranging Guild. To be able to enter, he gives you the pendant of Lucian. To cross the bridge, your character must weigh less than 0 kilograms, and you pick up the lever, which you place on the bracket to open the southern room. Here you search chests, finding ice arrows. These are used against the boss Leka, the fire warrior of Lazarkus, who can only be damaged by these arrows. After the fight, you find a witch called Winelda, who teleports you across the lava for 20 Limquert roots. By pushing the wall, you find the guardians who are protecting the staff of Armadil. At this point, you can side with Lucian by killing the guardians of Armadil, taking their staff and bringing this to Lucian, or you can side with the guardians and talk to them. They tell you that Lucian is a necromancer who raised an army of the undead against Varrock a generation ago, and that if he got the staff, he would be too powerful. So they give you an Armadil pendant and you kill Lucian. Completing this quest is a requirement for Desert Treasure. Fight Arena. You start the quest by speaking with Lady Serville. Her son and husband had been kidnapped by General Khazard because she refused his hand in marriage. You find a chest that contains Khazard armor, which you equip to enter the prison. You ask Sammy where the cell keys are. The head guard has them. You buy him a Cali brew, which makes him drunk, and he entrusts you with his keys. You free Sammy, who instead of escaping, looks for his father inside of the arena. You kill a Khazard ogre, and General Khazard appears, who offers to free the Servilles if you become a fight slave. In your cell block you speak with Hengrad before returning to the fight arena to fight a Khazard Scorpion and Bouncer. General Khazard released the imprisoned Servilles, and then you return to Lady Serville to claim your reward. Hazeel Cult. You speak with Sir Cecil Carnelian, whose family armor has been stolen. In a cave, east of the clock tower, you find Clivet, who tells you that the mansion Serral lives in used to belong to Hazeel before it was taken by the Carnelians. Clivet and other Zamorakian worshippers await the return of Hazeel, and he offers you to join them. You can help Serral or resurrect Hazeel. The choice you make will have a minor effect on the events of the quest Secrets of the North. If you choose to help Serral, you turn 5 sewer valves and take a raft to Clivet's hideout. Here you fight Alamone and search a chest to find a Carnelian armor. When returning the armor, you inform Serral that his butler, Jones, is a member of the Hazeel Cult, which he doesn't believe. You then search the cupboard upstairs and find a mark of Hazeel and a bottle of poison. These are shown to Serral, and he fires his butler. If you instead choose to help Clivet, he wants you to poison a Carnelian household member to prove your loyalty. In the basement kitchen, you add the poison to the broth and learn that Scruffy the dog is dead. Clivet gives you the Hazeel mark, and after turning 5 valves, you board a raft and find his hideout. Alamone asks you to find a scroll with an incantation to resurrect Hazeel. Butler Jones gives you some directions on how to find a scroll. You find a chest key in the crates in the basement, and you knock on the wall upstairs, finding a secret ladder leading to the chest with the scroll. You return this to Alamone, and he starts Hazeel's resurrection. At the moment he is weak, and he soon expects his power to peak once again. Completing this quest is a requirement for Secrets of the North. The dig site. You talk to an examiner and ask about taking an exam to be eligible to do work on the dig site. She hands you a letter which Curator Haig Halen stamps for you. After failing the initial try of the exam, you speak with 3 students, who each request an item that they are looking for in exchange for the answers. After passing the first exam, you then talk with the students again, and they give you the answers for the second exam. And the same goes for the third exam. Now that you're certified to dig on the archaeology sites, you find a specimen jar and dig near the bones of a dinosaur, finding an ancient talisman. This is taken to the archaeological expert, who hands you a letter permitting you to further explore the dig site. Using a rope on a winch, you descend and see some large bricks blocking the way to a room. Going down the other winch, you meet Doug Deeping, who tells you that someone who used to work on the site used an explosive mixture to remove boulders, but that he saw something one day that scared him and he ran away. Doug hands you the key he left, giving access to a chest with chemical powder. In a barrel next to the tent, you find an identified liquid. The archaeological expert identifies these substances, which you mix together with ground charcoal and arsenia root. The chemical compound is used on the bricks, lit with a tinderbox, and a massive explosion happens. The room, full of skeletons, has a Zerosian altar and a stone tablet professing the return of Zaros. This is handed to the archaeological expert, who concludes that Saradomin covered up the evidence of the Zaros altar and that Varrock is actually built over it. Completing this quest is a requirement for Another Slice of Ham, Bone Voyage, and Desert Treasure 1. Below Ice Mountain, Willow, a self-proclaimed archaeologist, has found a set of doors beneath a turn of rocks on the western side of the Ice Mountain and asks for your help. She wants you to reassemble her old crew, a ragtag bunch of misfits, unbeknownst to you at this point in time. Burnt Off, the dwarf, master of explosives, requests a beer and a game of rock paper scissors. Marley the thief, cousin of Charlie the tramp, wants a steak sandwich. The chef in the Blue Moon Inn says it's a difficult recipe. And Checkle the strongman wants you to prove your strength, so you train with Atlas and flex on Checkle, who agrees to join. Burnt Off explodes the entrance. Checkle removes the rubble. Marley deactivates the traps, and in an epic plot twist, Willow admits that her crew are not archaeologists, but instead grave robbers looking for the next score. Considering my archaeology streak, this was quite a surprise. The Ancient Guardian awakens, the crew flees, and after you defeat it, you loot some items from Willow's bag. Romano, an Encamdo dwarf, appears, revealing the ruins of Camdazal. Clock Tower. Brother Kojo's clock has stopped working, and the town people are angry. He asks for your help to fix it. Underneath the clock tower there are 4 different coloured cogs. By going down the ladder, just south of the zoo's camel cage, you find a long winding passage, you push the wall and find a blue cog, and fit it on the blue spindle on the first floor. The black cog is found in the basement under the clock tower, surrounded by walls of fire, and fits on the black spindle found here underground. The red cog is found near some ogres, and fits on the ground floor's red spindle. And lastly, the white cog is obtained after picking up some rat poison, flicking 2 levers, poisoning the rats, and going through the gate. This fits on the white spindle on the top floor. You head back to Brother Kojo and he rewards you. Holy Grail. To start this quest you must have completed Merlin's Crystal. King Arthur tells you about an ancient artifact called a Holy Grail. Merlin tells you to talk with someone on a holy island, and also Sir Galahad. On Entrana, a strange old crone appears and says that the Fisher King is in trouble. Sir Galahad, who has become a Saradominist monk, gives you a holy table napkin. In Draenor Manor, upstairs you find 2 magic whistles. Northwest of the town of Brimhaven, there's a guard tower. When blowing the whistle underneath it, you are magically transported to the Fisher Realm, which is currently dilapidated, and a Black Knight Titan stands on the bridge. After defeating him, you talk with a fisherman, who mentions that to get into the castle, you must ring the bell. Ringing the bell magically transports you into the castle. The Fisher King is in ill health, awaiting for the return of his son and heir, Sir Percival. Asking of his location, King Arthur gives you a magic gold feather, which blows in the direction of Sir Percival, who's been lost on a quest for several months. You find him in a sack in the Goblin village, inform him of his role as future king of the Fisher Realm, and give him a magic whistle, plus directions on how to get there. When returning to the Fisher Realm, it's become lush and verdant, no longer in a state of ruin. Climbing to the top of the castle tower, you take the Holy Grail and return this to King Arthur. Completing this quest is a requirement for King's Ransom. Waterfall Quest. Almir's son has gone exploring for some lost treasure. Legends say that the treasure is located underneath the Baxtorian Falls. Living hundreds of years ago, Baxtorian was an elf who was in love with Glareal. Her amulet is needed to enter the falls. Beneath the Tree Gnome village, you find a key, open a gate, and meet a gnome called Golry, who lets you take an elven inscribed pebble. This pebble is placed on Glareal's tombstone, unlocking an underground area with a chest containing her amulet and a tombstone containing an urn with her ashes. Using a rope to navigate down the falls, you equip her amulet and are able to enter. A key is found in some boxes, which unlocks the door to a room with 6 pillars. You place an air rune, a water rune, and an earth rune in each pillar, and then also Glareal's amulet on her statue, which shakes the earth and raises a chalice, where you place her ashes so she can finally be at rest. Completing this quest is a requirement for Desert Treasure 1, Legends Quest, and Roving Elves. Tree Gnome Village. King Bolren's orbs of protection have been stolen by Khazad troops who are currently at war with the gnomes and trying to destroy their home. Commander Montai needs wooden reinforcements and also the coordinates to fire a ballista and weaken the enemy's hold in order to retrieve the orbs of protection. After speaking with the gnome trackers, you coordinate the ballista and enter the enemy's hold. Upstairs, in a chest, you find the orb. During your time retrieving this orb, the Khazad troops have slaughtered many more gnomes and stolen a few more orbs, which are now in the possession of the Khazad warlord. He refuses to return them and fights you. Once you defeat him, you hand these orbs to King Bolren, and the sacred spirit tree is brought back to life, restoring protection to the Tree Gnome village. Completing this quest is a requirement for Monkey Madness 1. The Grand Tree. King Narnocharin asks for your help to revive the Grand Tree, which is currently ill. He hands you a bark sample and a translation book, which you bring to Hazelmere. He scribes a message, which translates to having been requested to give Daconia rocks, made as a failsafe that can kill the tree in case it overgrows. Glow had caught and imprisoned a human named Charlie, who was found carrying the Daconia rocks. Charlie explains that he was only doing Glow's bidding. In Glow's house, you find a journal where he expresses disdain towards humans. When confronted about this, he imprisons you. Charlie mentions a deal being made at the shipyard on Karamja. The king soon releases you, and you glide there. Using the password Charlie shared, you enter and find a foreman. You get the lumber order off him, and show this to the king, but he is not convinced that Glow is plotting an attack on humans, or that he's setting the stage to blame them. You consult Charlie again, and he mentions that Anita, Glow's girlfriend, has a copy of the key to his chest. Inside, you find the attack plan to seize control of Gillinor. The king still doesn't believe your evidence, saying he already made a search of Glow's possessions, having only found a few bundles of twigs. Climbing the tree branch in Glow's house, you place the twigs on 4 pillars to spell T-U-Z-O, and a trapdoor opens. You enter, and Glow admits his evil plan before setting a black demon to attack you. After defeating it, you speak with the king. His guards find Glow hiding amongst some Daconia rocks, and he asks you to find any remaining amongst the roots. You find it, return it to the king, and the tree starts healing. He apologizes for his doubts and thanks you for your help. Completing this quest is a requirement for Monkey Madness 1 and the Eyes of Gloffrey. Monkey Madness 1. To start this quest, you must have completed the Grand Tree and the Tree Gnome village. Following the events of the Grand Tree, King Narnocharin asks you to investigate Glow's old shipyard for any trace of the missing 10th squad. Karanok says that the winds could have steered them off course south, although he seems suspicious. The king then asks you to consult Darrow to continue your mission. In an underground hangar, you're introduced to Wadar. After solving a sliding puzzle, the gliders are reinitialized. Landing on Crash Island, you meet a 10th squad member called Lumdo, who sells you to Ape Atoll. Running towards the monkey settlement, you're knocked out and placed into prison. Here there are more members of the 10th squad. Lumo shares ideas on how to escape, which you do, and then you meet Garkor, the leader of the 10th squad, who asks you to talk with Zuknok the mage. Despite a degree of mystery having been displayed by most of the gnomes so far, Garkor now reveals that he's been in sporadic contact with King Narnode, and that his plan is to transform you into a monkey and act as an insider snooping on King Awawoge. In a crate room, you find monkey dentures and stumble upon the storages underground, finding a monkey amulet mold. In the Ape Atoll jungle, you enter a dungeon with a long, dangerous, winding path, finding Zuknok at the end of it. Being updated on the plan, he makes you an enchanted bar for the Monkey Speak amulet. In the dungeon underneath the temple of Marimbo, you use these items on a wall of flames and string the amulet. You now speak with a monkey child, convincing him that you're his uncle and asking to borrow his monkey talisman. Zuknok makes a monkey Grigri from the talisman and some monkey bones. This works permanently on Ape Atoll, but only for a short instance when off the island. Meanwhile, Wadar and Karanok are discussing how to advance Glow's plans. They believe that if the 10th squad died, they'd be able to pin the blame on humans. Now being able to transform into a monkey, you try to seek audience with King Awawoge, but first need to get General Crux permission. You suggest to King Awawoge an alliance with the Karamjan monkeys. In order for him to trust you, he needs proof of your resourcefulness. You rescue a monkey from the Ardoin Zune by transforming into one to get into the cage and then back into a human to get out. Awawoge considers your proposition and then consults with Karanok and Wadar to discuss the fight against the humans. They plan to trap the 10th squad, having them teleported to one location and killed by one of Glow's pets. This fight ensues, but with the 10th squad victorious and the jungle demon defeated. You report back to the king, who rewards you handsomely and then receive special training from Darrow.
Also, you can now buy and wield the Dragon Scimitar. Completing this quest is a requirement for Recipe for Disaster and Monkey Madness 2. Thank you very much for watching. In the next season, I'll be completing 23 more quests. If you have any feedback whatsoever for the series, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time.